You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Happy Thanksgiving. It is October 14th, 2024. Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill, the Monday edition of Leafs Morning Take. We work on holidays, Rosie. If you were to catch somebody else, they got scheduled programming. They got fill-in guests, not us, buddy.
Our dedication to our craft knows no limits. I almost missed this thing. I was having some Thanksgiving dinner, had some family over, was playing. I'm addicted to pool lately. That's all I want to play is pool with buddies and stuff. And obviously you're drinking beer and gambling, so it's not as pure of a thing as it sounds. But was doing that last night and just didn't set an alarm, forgot about a show, didn't know anything, woke up and saw the notes on the show and thought, holy crap, I got to work this morning. So good thing you're prepared, because I sure as hell wasn't.
It won't be the first time, won't be the last time that we're both a little puzzled, but certainly we'll get into the mix here on Leafs Morning Take. Lots to talk about, lots to preview this upcoming week. Sounds like you had a good Thanksgiving then, eh?
It was. We had a ham.
Nice.
And yeah, my wife, wow, it was crazy. My wife just went off and just made everything, didn't ask me to do anything. I was like, you feeling okay, honey? Just killed it out there. Hats off to her. And now we have a little brunch after the show at the neighbor's house, which is my best friend. So yeah, I'm having a hell of a good weekend, dude.
I hope you remember that we have something we're taping after this show.
Yeah, it's not urgent, and we will have, can we say?
Yeah, we're gonna have Joe Quenneville on the show tomorrow.
Coach Q, baby. Honestly, I just look Quenneville, Cooper, Paul Maurice, I think are the best in the game, the legends of coaching right now. And that's a matter of time before that guy's got a job in the league again, and there'll be some people that whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't think you can keep that guy off of a roster for too much longer.
Hell no. He got reinstated. Of course, we see Stan Bowman now the GM of the Edmonton Oilers. And rest assured, the first team who cans its coach, Q's going to be lurking in the weeds. And obviously, we're going to ask him about that. So Joe Quenneville, we're going to catch up with him later on today. You'll hear that interview. You'll see that interview coming up on Tuesday. But I was going to say my hot take of Thanksgiving is that turkey is grossly overrated. Agree or disagree, Rosie?
Disagree wholeheartedly.
Really?
I think it's underrated because it's so tasty. You got the white meat, you got the dark meat, slather it in gravy. It goes with lots of different side dishes. Like, why do we not have that more often than just Thanksgiving and Christmas? I don't understand. It's I think it's underrated and it should be ate more.
Well, first and foremost, shout out to my mother, Maria. Killed it yesterday. Because my issue with turkey, it's too dry. But I don't know, the way she cooked it yesterday, there was some juices in there, which I appreciated a bit more. But as you know me by now, I put hot sauce on everything, so I drowned it out anyways. But yesterday's was good. We had some stuffing, we had some gravy, had a bit of everything in the mix. We're an unconventional family where it's usually like ham or like pasta. We go off the map with our menu selection, but we had the customary turkey yesterday.
Yeah, good for you. Good. Is she the true Italian, or who's giving you those eyebrows?
My dad is actually. Both parents are from the south of Italy, but yeah, my mother and father actually are really, really good cooks. My mom specifically just kills it. And it's usually Italian food, but she'll stray sometimes. And the turkey out of the park last night, man, it was good.
Way to go. Way to get into the festive season, man. But
Thanks.
Still, you're calling it overrated. So couldn't have been that great.
Yeah, my mom's got to deal with the constant bickering of three men in the family. Of course, I got my brother and my father, just never content with what's put out there. I love her homemade pizza. I'll take that every time I go over, and she gets annoyed because I was like, I'll take pizza every time I come, and then there's no pizza, and I bitch and complain.
Oh, I believe that's good. Real Italian pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I dig it. I dig it.
You know what I don't dig, Rosie? Every year we come on this podcast and we look back at the home opener and it's like, let's sit on our hands for the player intro. It's like number 38, Jay Rosehill. Crickets.
Like, that's
probably
it.
Accurate.
Number 34, Austin Matthews, crickets. And he just kind of walks onto the ice, just like, nah. Like, I'm sorry, but Montreal Canadiens kicked our ass in an intro. I mean, you got they've got this song that's kind of an inspiring song that's now become like their anthem, this Coldplay song. They've got a live band playing it. They come out of some kind of side doors with, a full string quartet, basically, or I guess that was a full symphony. And they come out and they stop at the middle, and then they stop, and then they look around just to kind of be like, check it out. And then they go saying, like, it was just wicked. It was theatrical. It had some things to it. Ours was exactly like game number 43. And aside from, you just announced the whole team, like there was no theatrics to it at all. It's like it's like the Maple Leafs production crew was like, our fans are not even going to be paying attention or cheering or doing anything other than doing some business deal underneath the platinum seats with some sushi and caviar or some bullshit. Who gives a rip? Just rattle off the names, get them on the blue line, and get the hell going with the game. It was so underwhelming that in today's day and age, especially when you're trying to like grow the game and like everything about the NFL and, you know, F1 and everything that's popular is just over the top theatrics production, just awesome stuff. They're so good at doing that these days that the Toronto Maple Leafs, like, you're a monster, man, and you can't put on a better intro to your season, like a pretty exciting season where there's lots to be pumped about. You can't do better than that. That was fucking embarrassing, and no one was into it, and that building sucks. It's just things got to change, but there's just no way they're gonna. I don't know. It was underwhelming and disappointing.
It was weak ass for sure. Max sends us a super chat. Thanks for starting us off. A good friend of the podcast, Max. Leaf tickets are too expensive to have real fans because
Well,
the real fans, as they say on social media, are always at home.
yeah, hey, I get it. I tweeted something, and holy shit, did people want to comment? I don't think I've ever had so many comments on a tweet, and it was overwhelming and unanimous that the real fans are at home, and nobody in that barn that. But it's like, why? I guess they're all suits, and it's like a business thing, and it's a status thing. But why can't people with money be, why can't they cheer just because you have a bunch of money and it's expensive to go to the game? You can't be loud. It's kind of annoying. I guess it's more of a blue collar, take your shirt off and swing it over your head type of thing, where those people are at home doing their thing. And Lord knows that this Leafs nation is monstrous and passionate. And oh, we know as well as anybody that it's the passion around that team is so strong. It's as much as any team in the world, yet the people in that building just can't seem to bring themselves to cheer. And people's comments, the Raptors games are loud. It's not a building, it's not an acoustics thing. It is the people that go to those games just don't seem to want to go crazy. And yes, it's too expensive for the average fan to go to. I just don't see why people who have a few extra bucks in their pocket can't be loud as well. It's very disappointing for a franchise of this caliber to be that underwhelming on opening night with a really, exciting season ahead of them. I was annoyed.
Yeah, I was bewildered. I was embarrassed, quite frankly, to be a Maple Leafs fan. But I think the one thing people have pride in the organization, they're like, oh, it's the acoustics, it's this, it's that. I don't buy that. You just mentioned the Toronto Raptors. I've been to a Raptors game, man. It's one of the best barns in the league to watch an NBA game. So we see it in the NBA. Why can't we see it with the NHL? It's the same building. David M. writes in, it was actually loud on Saturday compared to a lot of games. I have seasons. It wasn't as bad as you guys probably heard it on the TV. So maybe it's Hockey Night in Canada's fault, Rosie.
It's good to hear it was loud. I mean, when I go to games, there's there is an electricity to it. There is an aura about it. Like I know you're tired and bored of going to games and you're not
Yeah.
that interested, but I mean, I didn't go to a ton of them growing up. I didn't went to none. I got to play there, and then when I go back, it's probably reminiscent of feelings I used to have while being in that building. But it's neat going to a building. I like being in the rink. The building, the atmospheres can be good. I've
Mhm.
felt it be good, but that for an opening night, I just thought more would happen. And yeah, I guess if people in the building said it was better than it looked, but you look at all the other rinks and you can feel. I mean, you can feel the energy in the crowd, and you can hear the noise. It's kind of hard to hide. And I just thought it was super underwhelming, to the point where the Leafs didn't even try to make it special. They literally had some little lights going on the ice, and here's Simone Benoit. All right. Here's a fucking Austin Matthews. Okay, let's drop the puck. It was just like, fuck it. Let's just, no one's gonna. I don't know. It was underwhelming and disappointing. Whatever. Not the end of the world.
You know what's bad, because it's not the first time this man has piped up, but Joe Bowen, the legendary play-by-play voice of the Leafs, had a really good tweet I felt on Saturday night. You see it on your screen. When I win the Powerball lottery and have enough money to buy the Leafs, 3 immediate changes: goal horn replaced with a trained steam whistle, current organ replaced with a pipe organ, and cattle prods under lower bowl seats. You get 5 seconds to get up and cheer, or boom.
Joey boy. I like it. It's not the first time he's been vocal about the building
Yeah.
being quiet, man. So, I mean, a guy that's been there a million times and knows the difference between quiet and loud, and has seen it loud. And if he's openly expressing that it's disappointing, I mean, there's something going on. But I don't know. I just don't get why. I mean, tickets are expensive to all. Do they have the most expensive tickets in the league by far, or no? Like, is it not expensive to go watch the Habs play opening night? It's not conducive to the Maple Leafs to say the barn's quiet because the tickets are too expensive. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
why is that a correlation to being extremely quiet?
Yeah.
I think it should still be able to be loud and passionate, and have people who you spend a lot of money. Aren't you really jacked up to go, and it's a special event? Or are they all just complete Bay Street dickheads who just barely even want to be there? I don't know.
It's
Sucks.
just one of those things. Like, I wasn't in the building, and maybe those of you in the chat who were, like, even put up a sign on the big screen, make some noise. We're about to introduce the team for 24-25. Like, it seems like they don't even give them that instruction. And maybe you have to dumb it down that much, where it's like, hey, get on your feet, make some noise. Like, I hate to use Montreal as an example. I do feel like they're the intro gold standard of the league. We saw opening night, but like, even like their athletic therapist gets like a loud ovation. Like, they mentioned Toronto staff, including their assistants and Craig Berube, and barely anything. Maybe it was my TV again, but like barely anything, as opposed to like Montreal. I could have mute on. I can hear those people.
Yeah, maybe don't go through the training staff first and everything. It's kind of a luller, like, and then you announce all the scratch. It's like, do that after, because it kind of lulls everyone to sleep, and then
Yeah.
you're like introducing Austin Matthews, and everyone's like, oh, it's not really too exciting so far. I would maybe flip that. Otherwise, that's my only really thing I could say, is maybe don't lull them to sleep with the training staff and the massage therapists freaking call outs before you bring out the big boys. I would hype them up, like you say, have a big countdown on the thing, time to get loud, get ready to get loud, and then bring the boys out. I don't know. It seems like they didn't put any effort into it, but who
Oh,
cares?
yeah. Yeah.
Moving on, they won their home opener. I can't believe they've won that many in a row. I didn't realize that. If we'd known, I might have mashed it a little harder.
I know it's in the notes, so we're going to get to that in mere moments. We're going to prompt you right now for super chats, just like Max did to start off the show. If you got a super chat, hit us up at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, folks. We're working on a holiday. Come on, give us a break here. Help us out at the Leafs Nation 401. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review, and also make sure to visit theleafsnation.com. If you run a restaurant, you're too busy for this ad, you're thinking about how to get more orders flowing and new locations opening. You need to get more customers and keep them coming back. So really, you're already thinking about Square, because Square Restaurant Tech helps more than 400,000 restaurants to do all those things and more. So when you're thinking about your restaurant, think bigger and think Square. Go to squareup.com/ca/en/campaign/big in RST to see why Square is big in restaurants. You talk about big 4-2 victory on Saturday night, Rosie, against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the home opener. You mentioned it. 9 straight home opener victories for this Maple Leafs team, and off on a good foot on this 4-game homestand.
Yeah, it was nice, man. They, kind of underwhelming start to the season, a 1-0 loss to Montreal. Like, what the hell is that? Whatever, wipe it off. And it felt like a pretty strong 60-minute effort. I think, man, the potential for you just get some chemistry going, and you get some camaraderie going, and you play some team first hockey. I think this group could be bloody scary. Only thing right now is those special teams are just basically abysmal. But other than that, the 5-on-5 and the ability to have a well-rounded hockey team that's deep, that has different layers that you could throw out there at different times, it seems pretty solid, man. It's been I'm optimistic. It's after game one, like I said, I was a little down. I think my expectations were really high and I was a little bit let down. But other than that, team looks pretty solid. And to put 60-minute efforts together, and I know that the Penguins aren't exactly on the top of their game right now, but lots of reasons to have excuses, otherwise. Oh, it's their first home game and Dubas and this and Crosby and they're still Malkin and whatever. But and to get scored on first and respond, I was pretty happy with that. They seemed to have some resilience to them, and there was no panic. It's not like they abandoned ship after they got scored on and started looping and shooting and dicking around. They just kind of stuck to it, and it felt like a 60-minute effort for the most part. Only caveat was those special teams are struggling.
I was scared shitless when I saw Pittsburgh was starting a rookie goalie. We know how the Leafs fare against those type of teams. All in all, I didn't think it was their best effort, but I thought it was like a grinding type victory, like one you'd more see in the springtime as opposed to October. Again, you got to be careful early on in the season, but pretty much, Rosie, to our expectation, it was the big boys minus Austin Matthews, who is now goalless in 3 games, and we'll get to him. But Nylander, I thought, was good. Nice pass by Domi on the 2-on-0 there. Mitch Marner had a beauty for his first of the season, a 2-point outing for him. And your guy, Matthew Knies, again, just a stat stuffer, a goal, 3 shots on goal, +4. He's just better and better and better, does something different every game to add to this team.
Knies was +4. Oh, it's beautiful, man. He works his bag off too. Like when you watch him skate, like I feel sore watching him skate because he's going so friggin' hard. And I know what would happen if I skated that hard nowadays. Not a lot of guys in the league skate that bloody hard, are that big and strong, and like his MO is just to get there first and just use that big body. Like like how tall is he? I don't even how big is he?
5'10", 5'11", I want to say.
Yeah, he's not like this hulking monster, but he uses his body so well and just wants. It's like he's just oozing confidence. That college game is, using your body to protect the puck possession game. He's good at it. And I mean, that one pops out to him and he just wires it far aside in his celly. Like everything about the guy I just love him, man. I love everything he does. I can just see everyone on that team loving the guy, wanting to play with him, wanting to be his teammate. I can see him just always working on his game, doing everything right, being the consummate pro, playing hard, working your bag off. He can finish. He just does everything, and he's still so young. I don't know, something on the broadcast was like, well, last year, blah, blah. It's like it was his rookie year, man. Like he's still got next to no experience when you compared to like a 7-8 year vet, and he's doing these things already. I don't know. I don't want to overpump him, but I just see nothing but great things in his future. I would love to lock that guy up for like 8 years now, because in 4 years, whatever the hell it is he signs for is going to look like an absolute bargain, because I just think he's got all the right stuff.
My apologies. We have smart asses in the chat. He's actually 6'3". He's the same size as you.
Yeah,
and
what'd
I,
you say?
man.
5? He's like 5'7".
5'11". I hate being put in the spot when I don't have the answer. I don't know.
It's not like he's 6'5", 230, but I mean, he is 6'3". He's a big boy, man. And
Yeah.
when you have that big of a body and you're that skilled and you work that friggin' hard, it's impressive, man. It shows out there, and I hope it's contagious, because, I think Berube would, like, how could he not just be in love with Knies guy at this point?
I know. But maybe I think it's because I'm 6'3", so it's hard to like measure up how you measure to other people. Nazi's just a big dude. I love the weight he's added, but yeah, he's pretty much the same height as Austin Matthews.
You are surprisingly large. Like, I just thought you'd be like a normal sized dude, and when I met you, I'm like, fucking Jesus, I didn't expect you to be tall. I guess you're the same height as me, but it seems like you're taller.
I don't know. I get that a lot. I meet people in person who listen to the pod and they're like, "We thought you were some nerd." I'm like, "Do I look like a guy who smashes my calculator game after game?" No, because if you did that, you would know that Ryan Reeves is in line for the Hart Trophy. You see that tweet the other night? Can you explain it?
What was it again? Was it yours?
No, it was. I don't know where this thing came from. I don't really subscribe to that community. It was something about goals expected bullshit.
Okay, what
Ryan
is
Reeves.
this new stat? You guys sent me the stat and it was like GL. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's like, it's a fancy plus minus. I'm like, what nerd needed to reinvent plus minus? Like, good Lord. Sorry. But I wonder about him. I wonder about him. If, I wonder how Craig Berube is going to use Ryan Reeves this year. I'm curious.
I don't think it's going to be every game. I think it's important to bring up John Tavares didn't play on Saturday. I think Reeves wasn't going to play. You're not changing your lineup after a victory. And I think, honestly, that's the right way to deploy Ryan Reeves. I don't need to see him every game. Like, I think it makes more sense if you're playing like a Montreal, you see Alberga Jay out there. I noticed New Jersey didn't dress their tough guy. Like, I think you pick your spots with Ryan Reeves.
So was McDermott a scratch?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. It's an interesting time because the tough guy with Rempe and all that. Yeah, lots of flash and everything. And like example, New Jersey goes and gets McDermott, and there's there's Delorier, and there's lots of different teams have their guy. And in my mind, I don't think that you just need to use the guy to fight their tough guy. I want to put that guy in the lineup against a team that doesn't have a tough guy so you can run around, intimidate the hell out of them, call their whole bench out, make a mockery of them, and just toy with them and make them feel about this big because they have no answer for your tough guy. That's the idea. And then guess what they do? These guys don't have egos. You think coaches like that? You think players like that? You think GMs who construct a team like just getting made a mockery of and being intimidated and just treated like a bitch out there? They don't like that. They go and get a tough guy too. And I think that's starting to happen, especially last year. I want to see more of it. But in my mind, if you are playing a team that doesn't have a tough guy, in my mind, that's more reason to play your tough guy, assuming he's fast enough, physical enough, can hit cleanly, not take penalties, just wear a team down and make a mockery of them and force them to get a tough guy. That's what I want to see personally, because I'd like to see every team with a tough guy. I'd like to see every team, play physical and use that game within the game to their advantage. And I don't really see, okay, well, they have a tough guy, so we're going to dress a tough guy. They can go fight off the opening draw, and okay, and then we're going to go play hockey. It's just that thing's kind of done for me, and doesn't really make sense. And if I were running the show, I'd say, well, the teams that don't have a tough guy, instead of sitting my tough guy, why don't I go run them through the wall and absolutely degrade them to the point where they don't even want to be in the building anymore? And then maybe that'll force them to go make changes. But that's how I see it happening, is take advantage of the weak teams.
Early returns on Revo have been good. I will say, I mean, there's busy numbers right now in the bottom six. Like, if you're asking me, I know what you're saying, but I much prefer having like a Bob McMahon in there or a Lorentz clearly, as opposed to a Reeves. I'm still picking my spots, but I get what you're saying. If you can impose your will physically and have a Revo running around and saying this is not going to be your night, I'm all for it. I just think there's some better options right now in the bottom six.
Yeah, and I'm not saying play Revo 82 games a
Yeah.
year. I'm just saying don't just play him because there's a tough guy on the other
Yeah.
side. I'm not saying don't play him because there's a tough guy on the other side. The last thing I want as a Maple Leaf, fan is to watch some tough guy run around and treat us like absolute, bitches and make us look weak and pathetic and intimidated and scared, which I've seen before. And it's an ugly look. God, it makes you want to just hit the roof when teams are coming into your building and taking advantage of you. So, hence why they went out and got Ryan Reeves, because we've seen that movie before. And I'm not saying play him, 80 games a year, but I just don't think you have to only insert him because they have a tough guy over there. Why not insert him and run them through the building when they have absolutely no answer for it?
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Leafs Nation 401 here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. So no John Tavares, as we talked about, the former captain due to illness. Weirdly enough, producer Vic, credit for this stat threw our way. 8-0-0 in the last 8 outings are the Maple Leafs without John Tavares. 35 goals for, 15 goals against. Why? It's weird.
I don't know. I don't think it's just John. Isn't there other stats, whether
Yeah.
it's Austin or Mitch or something like
All those
that?
guys. Yeah.
It just is what it is, man. I think if you're going to crunch enough numbers, I just call that coincidence, really. I don't think the team is better without John Tavares. I don't think it's worse with him. I don't know why that stat is. There's nothing I could point to. I think it's just one of those anomalies. But I did see that in the notes and was like, that's odd and, not a good look on John, but for no reason it's valid if you ask me.
Speaking of valid, the power play, not very valid right now. 0 for 9 to start the year. They were 0 for 3, just look horrendous. I know JT's not in the lineup, but we did see one change we've all been asking for ever since July 1. Oliver Ekman-Larsson replacing Morgan Riley on PP1. I think they had a couple shifts together in the third period on one of the power plays, and it looked infinitely better. The best it's looked this season. And my main reason for that is he actually has a shot. Like Morgan Riley, I've never seen the guy take a slap shot to begin with, and he really doesn't there's not a threat of a shot from the point on the Leafs power play. I just think OEL brings a different dynamic. On top of that, I think he's had an unbelievable start to this season. He had 5 shots on goal over the weekend, a team high 25-02 in that win against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to change, right? I wouldn't give a rip who they put on that thing right now. I'll take anything. Um, it's a privilege to be on the power play, and obviously the big boys on this team are used to it, and they probably don't think of it as a privilege. They think of it as, a right, which, with the skill level, yeah, I get how you could get to that point, but when you're struggling this bad, like it is abysmal. It's almost like their skill and their experience and their ability is just hindering them like crazy because and I don't know why it is. I'm again not a power play specialist, but like how does all that skill and all that like think of going back to their junior days and all of the reps and looks they've had on a power play and different teammates and how can that skill not figure it out? It's almost like there's too much skill and they're all like not sure who's QB, not sure who's taking the lead, not sure who's supposed to get that lane or get that shot or where they're trying to, separate to open up what? Everyone wants it. And it's just nothing is going, you know, nothing's easy. Nothing has chemistry. And that's the thing to me when a PP has chemistry and you just find each other and it's a unit and you're like, it doesn't matter who scores. We make these plays, we open up these seams and we bury it. And we look at each other and say, hell yeah, there's another one, boys. Let's go buzz the bench. It's the opposite of that. It's like, what the hell are we? They don't even know where to go at this point. They seem so lost, and it's just odd because they're all so skilled and they all have so much experience playing on the power play. I have no problem pulling, Morgan out and putting OEL on there, spread the wealth out, maybe like hell, just overhaul it if you want. It was our number one problem, I would say, in the playoffs. Like, if you want to go back to that and crunch the numbers, I can't even believe the numbers and the percentages that are coming off that power play in the playoffs. When you look at the teams that have success in the playoffs, the power play is a big part of it. And blow it right up for all I care, man. There is, and to start the season again this badly. And yeah, OEL, walking down Broadway with a big shot. You look at some of the big power plays in the league, they've got that threat and that danger, a Bouchard walking down Broadway and just that's a threat. And you spread that PK out. And when and you're killing penalties, you're like, I can't leave this guy down here. I can't leave this guy net front. I can't leave that point. And there's options out the ass. Your head's just spinning around. And eventually you're going to get spread out and thinned out. And they're going to find one of the options and bury it. You'd think that the Leafs would have that ability to spread teams out and have all kinds of different options, whether it's Austin or Mitch or Willie or but they don't. They're just lost and they're forcing it against grain. They're almost running into each other out there. So it's early. Something's got to change, but I am in favor of any changes that they want to make just to try to insert something.
I would go nuclear. I mentioned this last week. Like I would split the big boys up between the two units. I got some resistance last week about moving John Tavares to PP2 because his ego would be bruised. They already stripped him of the captaincy. How dare you move him to PP2? I got 11 million fucking reasons why I can move John Tavares to PP2. I just think it's so ridiculous when people are like, oh, you're going to hurt his feelings. It's like tough shit. Like I think we're at a point, Rosie, where we've seen enough from those 5 guys where it's not time to move on. You can go to that well And maybe when they gain that confidence, they get it back. But I would go nuclear with this thing. I would take some of the guys off PP1, put them on PP2. Maybe you mix and match the right-handed shot guys like Marner and Nylander, but they need something else. This ain't working right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking for chemistry, I mean, you just start throwing stuff against the wall and see what sticks. I mean, obviously your first intuition is going to be to put all the skill together on a power play and, make hay. But that's was a huge problem last year, especially when it mattered. And it's continued to be a big problem. So, okay, your first inclination of putting all those guys together, it's not working. Now it almost gives you the freedom to try anything else. Like, who cares? Fuck feelings. Are you kidding me? They're not hurting anybody's feelings. John Tavares is, as experienced as a hockey player as you're ever going to find. He knows damn well that this thing is struggling, that they're going against the grain, that it's cold as ice, and that you got to try anything. I mean, maybe he'd be a little bit flustered if you yanked him off the peeper completely, but if you kind of break it up and have a unit 1 and a unit 2, and then just say, listen, boys, we want you to get off at a minute, and we want to try both of these units. And whoever the hell has success and can figure something out and has some kind of gel together, that's going to be tomorrow's PP1. And until something really takes hold, we're just going to try to find something. So here's your minute. Take it and get the hell off and give the other boys a chance. There's no PP1. There's no PP2. I'm not calling anyone PP1. You guys are all terrible right now on the PP. No one deserves to be out there. So here's your minute. Now try to find something and we'll roll with that, because we're just throwing shit against the wall, trying to find something that sticks. Spread it out and give everyone a shot. See if you can find something, because it can't get any worse than it really is right now.
You know what would help? The Austin Matthews one-timer that's been non-existent. Like, this guy is one of the best shots in the National League. And I don't know if you're reading his game differently, but just seems a bit tentative. Like, again, he's been customary now and again to slow starts. Last year wasn't the case. A couple years back, I believe he started a bit slower, but very, very streaky, as we know. For the most part, he is always red hot. But what have you seen in Matthews' game thus far through 3?
It just hasn't been as dynamic and electric as we're used to seeing. 3 years ago he put up 60, and then super high expectations, and he had a little bit of an offer with 40, and okay, so now he did 69 last year. Is he gonna have everyone's like, is he gonna, I don't know if he's going in the pattern of having this insane goal production season and then maybe needing a breather afterwards. Maybe, I don't know if that's a pattern or not, but it's a handful of games. It's not the end of the world. I'm not worried about Austin Matthews at all, but he just hasn't been his dynamic, electric, phenomenal self as far as the chances, the goal scoring. Like, if he was getting his chances, you just chalk it up to, well, it just hasn't gone in yet, but he just doesn't seem there. And again, I don't know, for some reason, I know what reason it is. He's ridiculously good at scoring goals. I'm not worried about him. Yeah, he hasn't really been seen. He's not showing a lot of flashes of brilliance, but I'm not worried, because I just know that at some point in time he's just going to do ridiculous things and be Austin Matthews again. So yeah, a little bit of a slow start. I don't know what he's going to put up this year. And again, take it back to the thing we always talk about. Like, I don't really care, like, if he puts up 69 or 70. Like, show up in the playoffs, get that game winner, get that game where you got 2-1 to get a 3-1 lead in the series, like strangle, like, do that for me, and I could give a shit what you do in game 1, 2, and 3 of the season. If he's just pacing himself to make sure, if last year he was like, man, I was going guns ablaze and everything was kind of hurting, but I was scoring like a machine and they just kept putting me out, and I just went. And then everyone wanted me to get 70 and I freaking kind of hit a wall. And then it was like, I didn't have the juice to get up for playoffs. It was almost like I was out of gas. Well, then hell, do whatever you want during the regular season, man. As long as you're ready to just go full throttle and put the hammer down and all your talents are on display in the playoffs, give me that all day.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay. I'm right there with you. I think he's going to have his moment where he has like a multi-goal effort. Maybe it happens against Los Angeles on Wednesday, and we sort of forget about this. Like, it happens quite frequently, quite honestly, when it comes to Austin Matthews. I'm not concerned. It's not like he's favoring anything. Like, he's getting opportunities. I think he had 8 shots on goal against Pittsburgh. He's going to get his cookies at some point in time. I wanted to get your opinion on the discipline in general. There's been some bad penalties taken, like even the Pacioretty one on Saturday. But Simone Benoit, we did see this in training camp last year where he took a bunch of minors, and now he's got 4 minors in 3 games. But I know you piped up on that on social media over the weekend.
Yeah, I think there's been some soft ones, and you're going to go through periods where you kind of get the raw end of the stick and kind of rack up a few penalties where you're not being undisciplined and you're not crazy things aren't really happening and you're not playing like a maniac and breaking all the rules. I know they're taking too many penalties. I can see that, but when I'm watching, I'm just like, there's a lot of weak ones, and I think it ebbs and flows with the reffing on how many you get. But there was I just don't think they're playing ridiculously undisciplined hockey. I really like Benoit out there. I think sometimes he gets a penalty. He's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm just playing hard defense." And I don't think that's going to be a trend. I don't think, but yeah, stay out of the box. But it's not like I'm yelling at the team right now, going, "Why are you guys playing so ridiculously undisciplined?" I don't see it. I think it's just been some shitty calls, and it's a couple of games and whatever. I don't expect it to be a trend.
I love our chat. It's hilarious. Dinner Bells writes in, Christ, there's a woman on my floor who does laundry 3-4 times a week and always clears her throat in the hallway. So annoying.
That's something you got to put on Leafs Morning Take chat, eh? Hey, they're getting comfortable with each other. They're creating relationships on that chat. It's good to see.
Yes, at the Leafs Nation 401, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I don't know why Dinner Bells felt the need to include that in the chat, but I think it's great nevertheless. Again, at the Leafs Nation 401, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcasts, and make sure to visit the LeafsNation.com. Rosie, are you ready? Are you ready, my friend? The return of Take It or Leaf It.
Leafs Morning Take It or Toronto Maple Leaf It. I
No, you can't
like
change
it.
the name. We've got a name. It's Take It or Leaf It.
Take it or leaf it. Let's go. I'm
All right.
ready.
So if you're new to this game, pretty much this is how it goes. Take it means yes. Leaf it means no. I have some statements I'm going to make. 3 of them. You ready, Rosie?
Yes, sir.
Anthony Stolarz will make more starts than Joseph Woll this season. Take it or leaf it.
I'm gonna leaf it. Not that he can't handle it. Not that if that happened, I don't think that we would be in good hands. I just think that Joseph Woll, hiccup to the start of the season. I still think he's going to be our man.
I'm going to go with take it. I hate to say that, but I think there's a bit of a track record developing here with Joseph Woll. And I think he's going to play clearly a bits and pieces this season, but I think they're going to be very careful with his deployment. And I do think Anthony Stolarz is capable of taking the ball and running with it as the number one guy. Like, I think he's ready for a career breakout. I understand his age and all that, but like he's looked really solid early on. Thought he was good in training camp. I thought he was great with the Florida Panthers last year. So I'm taking it. I think Stolarz starts more than Woll this season.
Okay, what about an over-under at 40 games, Joseph Woll?
Under. Rosie, you're legitimately saying you look at this guy's track record. You're telling me he can play 40 games this season.
I just don't. I'm still hesitant to think that the track record is indicative of what's going to happen in the future.
Fair. Yeah.
It's not a good look to the start. I totally get it. I was, adamant about, you got that high ankle sprain last year. It is what it is. Like, relax, move on. It's hard to get over that. Goalies need to do fine. Yeah, he's had some injuries, but I've played with guys who, in the first 5 years of their career, they have 2-3 years of just brutal luck with injuries, and then the next 5 years they're healthy as a horse. So that can happen. I have no leg to stand on because it's been such a rough start of him being injured before the puck even bloody drops. I was so rattled to kind of hear that, and it's not a good look for him, but I still am holding on to belief that he is going to be the number one guy and he's going to play the majority of the games this year.
Ronald writes in, under max bet, what's the new line? Under 38.5. Surprisingly, I would say the chat's believing in take it here, not leaf it.
Take it with Stoley.
Yeah.
Well, he looks good.
Yeah.
he's a good signing. He's a good goalie. He's big. He's athletic. I think he looks fantastic. I just still see him being as that wicked, capable, support behind Woll. I think people need to be reminded how good Joseph Woll is when he's playing. And I just want him to get some runway to actually put that down and be able to lean back on that and say, yeah, like I'm getting some experience here. I am the guy. And obviously being healthy is it's such a tough job in general without having to battle through these injuries. God, I would love to see him get healthy and get, you know, 30 games in a row where they're switch hitting the net fine, but he's not battling injuries. Like let this guy get some momentum and let him cook a little bit, let him get a foundation of confidence, and let's see what he can do. Cause I think it's really good things if he can get there. And I'm not ready to, it seems like people have just written him off as this
Yeah.
little, secondary, maybe once in a while if he's healthy. It's like, Jesus, he only missed the first couple games. Like, let's just chill and give him another chance to get healthy, whatever the hell's wrong with him. I mean, it sounds like he's close. I just want to see him in a game and give him time to get some runway.
Doesn't sound like he's close. He's not even skating yet. Anyways, Austin Matthews will score less than 50 goals this season. Take it or leaf it, Rosie.
Less than 50. Oh, slow start. 69 last year. No, I think he'll get like 52 or 53 or something. I think he'll get over that, but I just don't think it needs to be that dramatic, crazy run that he went on last year. Just score at a nice, healthy 50 plus clip, and I think he'll get over 50.
I'm with you. Leaf it for me too. I think Matthews is still going to get around 50 or 60 goals. Like I was chuckling over the weekend. Habs fans already playing with Leafs fans. Somebody put out that Cole Caulfield's got 4 goals and Matthews has 0. It's like, okay, let's have a conversation in 2 weeks. How's that going to look, buddy?
I don't know, but Caulfield seems to be scoring every time I look at the TV. And
I
hot little
guarantee you
start for
Austin
him.
Matthews will have more goals than Cole Caulfield this season.
Oh, I agree, but they're the Habs. So as soon as one thing's going, it's like buddies on my group chat that are Oilers fans. I mean, they just run their mouth and chirp off, and I've had my hesitations about them. I'm like, buddy, you were like to be that highly hyped going into the season. I think a lot of things went well for you guys last year. That's going to be hard to replicate. So easy with running your mouth, but a couple guys just love doing it. And now it's just radio silence crickets, man. I think that, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. And yeah, good start for Cole Caulfield, but those Habs fans are going to take jabs while they can, while they're in this rebuild, but I don't think it's going to last forever. That's for sure.
Third and final one, Timothy Liljegren will not be a Maple Leaf by U.S. Thanksgiving. That is November 28th, by the way.
I think they're going to try to make that come to fruition. I think they're going to try.
Take it or leaf it, Rosie.
Oh God, I got to be so technical. He's not going to be a Leaf. Take it. I would like them to move him and open up that cap, and I would like that. I just have my wonders about who's going to jump on that contract and who has cap space and who wants him. The thing that's going for him is got decent amount of experience. He's still young enough to have, a lot of great years ahead of him. Great is up to him. And he's a right-handed shooting defenseman, which seems like is always something people are looking for. I would just love to see who's willing to give anything up to take on that guy's contract, where he makes a few bucks for a guy that's, not even in the lineup.
2-year deal, $3 million per season. I'm going to go with leaf it. We're talking November 28th as the deadline day for the sake of this show and this game. I think first and foremost, teams need to see Timothy Liljegren. He's not even playing right now, although we're going to get to the lineup from practice. Looks like Liljegren could draw in for a season debut on Wednesday against the LA Kings. I think this is going to play out for a couple months. Like you can never have enough depth on the blue line. I haven't been crazy about Connor Timmins' game. Like I think he's been okay. I think for me, there's still uncertainty as well when it comes to Yanni Hakanpää. So like, if you're the Leafs, I think you draw this out. I know there's going to be a numbers game at some point in time, but I envision this lasting a bit longer than people think here. Yeah,
I mean, it's like a month and a half away. I don't know. Everyone expects, like, once the writing's on the wall that a guy could get traded, it's like, well, why hasn't it happened? Like, it's hard to make trades, man. It's not like it's easy. And if something comes across Treliving's desk and someone's ready to pull a trigger, who knows when that's going to be? Who's to say? But I do know that, Hawkenpaw is a question mark. Are we going to get him in? There's guys on LTIR, more than just him. And if you're going to activate those guys, you're right at the cap right now. So something's got to give, and I would not expect literally anything in return for Timothy Liljegren. I think if someone's just willing to take him and, utilize him somewhere and, take that contract off your books, I think that's about as much as you could ask for as you're starting to creep towards getting these guys off long-term IR and getting your cap in order.
So looking ahead at this week, Rosie, just a 2-game slate following last week, but home to LA on Wednesday, home to the New York Rangers on Saturday. So maybe we get another installment of Reeves and Rempe. That would be phenomenal in Hockey Night in Canada. What would you do first and foremost with the crease? Would you go Stolarz both games? Would you give Hildeby another start? How would you play it?
Well, I was thinking about this morning, and I thought Wool was a little bit closer. You make it sound like he's not very close, and that may be the case.
My
But
thinking is, sorry to interrupt, my thinking is they only have 2 games this week. What's the point of rushing him back?
yeah, and agreed. And
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to play this week, but I think that he's going to come back kind of sooner than later, I would say.
I hope.
So I say let's play Stoli. Play him Wednesday, play him Saturday, play him both. He's hot. He feels good. He looks good. Let's get him used to the market, used to, the surroundings, used to winning, get some confidence, get that foundation so that if Wool comes back and plays well for a stretch and you're not playing all the time as Stoli, might switch hit a few games here and there, but just give him that shot to keep working on what he's built and to keep moving forward with, his time in Toronto, man. I think it's gone fantastic. People are loving him. People are already, like, as you can see, calling him the number one and saying he's going to play more than
Yeah.
Wool. Like, relax, everybody. But as good as it could go for Anthony Stolar as it's went so far, he looks fantastic. Like, no softies. Save percentage is solid. Got his first win. Play him both games this week and let him cook.
I'm not against rotating. Having said that, they got a lengthy, days off. I think you can go back to Stolarz, put